I want to spend some time talking about confidence. In my community, there's over 3,400 women in the Sales Skills for Women in Business Facebook community, and so many of them tell me that confidence is the issue. Confidence is what is standing between them and success. So I want to talk about some tangible things that you can do to help build that confidence muscle. My name is Ryan Dowdy, and I'm a sales coach, and I work with brand new entrepreneurs to build businesses that actually make money by mastering your sales conversations and your sales mindset, in which case confidence is a huge, huge piece of that. So the number one reason I think that confidence becomes an issue for so many people is because we're so worried about what other people will think. What will other people think if I post on my personal Facebook page about my business? What will other people think if I'm selling during an economic crisis? What will other people think about my pricing? What will other people think about how good I am at what I do? And we let this fear of what other people think build this thing in our mind that's like, well, maybe I'm not good enough, and maybe they'll think this is stupid, and maybe no one will pay me. And then we're just like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. I'm not confident enough to do this. So we're so worried about what other people think. And so the first thing I want to charge you with when you're working on building confidence is really build yourself a group of people to be around, whether that's family or friends or business or professional, doesn't really matter, but that constantly lift you up. People that you know that no matter what you do are going to think really amazing things about you. That helps, right? And then the second thing when it comes to focusing on what other people think is really giving yourself permission to detach from that. Like my favorite quote is like, what other people think of you is none of your business. I do not care what other people think of me. I know whose opinions are important to me. One, God, and then two, that of my family. And those people always think good things about me. So I'm never worried about those people that are going to think what I'm doing is bad or icky or gross or yucky or any of those other things, because those people don't pay my bills. Those people don't know my heart. Those people don't know anything about me. So really like detach from what other people think of you. And that really, really helps with building that confidence, because the only person then you have to convince is yourself. The second thing is I want you to think about your future self. And this is a little bit out there and feels a little bit woo, but it's a fun thing to think about. And I like to do this pretty regularly. Even, it's the beginning of a month right now or beginning of a quarter, you can think about in 90 days at the end of the second quarter of this year, who am I? And how does that person show up? And am I a successful business owner with a full book of clients? Am I making $5,000 a month in my business? Am I showing up live on camera for my people every single day? Am I leading a group of women through a mastermind? Whatever it is, and who is that person? And really think about that future self, and then start showing up as her now. Start showing up as that person now, and it makes such a big difference in the decisions that you make, because right now you're making decisions from a lack of confidence. But that woman 90 days from now, she doesn't lack confidence, right? She has a full book of business. She knows how to get clients. She is super successful in her business, and she has confidence, and start acting as if. So think about that future self. Who is that woman 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months, 12 months down the road? And how do I start acting as if I'm that person today? And that really helps kind of build that confidence. Another great thing is to stop comparing yourself to others. I was just reading about this. Just finished reading Rick Warren's Purpose-Driven Life, and he talked about envy and how envy is just such this thing. It's such a negative thing, and it's definitely not what God intended for us, but that envy is really what destroys. Like you've heard that, right? Comparison is the thief of joy. Envy is the thief of joy. So looking around and being jealous and envious and comparing yourself to all these other people, it's killing your confidence. It's killing the purpose that God has for you. And it's killing your ability to show up and serve and live your purpose. And there's nothing positive that comes from comparing yourself to other people. We are all, we joke that, we're all individuals. We are all different. We are all on our own journey. We're all doing our own thing. And the only thing that you can worry about is yourself. So if you are comparing yourself to other people, that's probably hitting your confidence, because you're comparing yourself to people you don't know anything about. You're comparing yourself to people who have been doing this for 6 months, 12 months, 5 years longer than you have. You've been comparing yourself to people whose journey you know nothing about, and you're looking at that right now. So that is definitely stripping you of your confidence. So I really want you to focus on, how can I stop comparing myself to others? One of my favorite tips for this is like, if there are people that trigger you, in your newsfeed, on social media, whatever, just really distance yourself from that. Like snooze those people, unfollow those people, stop looking at that, and really focus on things that inspire you or people who make you want to be better. That's a great way to build confidence. Another great idea, one of my favorite things to do, and I do this a lot with my students, is to make a list of everything that you're good at. It's such an easy way to build, and even if it's 10 things, like what are 10 things that I know that I am fantastic at? And it doesn't even have to be business related, right? Like maybe you're a great mom, maybe you're a great wife, maybe you're a great cook, maybe you're great at yoga, maybe you're really good at, making your kids laugh or telling stories or something along those lines. But when you make a list of all the things that you're good at, you just kind of shift into a different energy that has way more confidence, and is really, really helpful in helping you kind of show up as yourself. And then the final thing that I want to talk about as it relates to building confidence is that practice, right? Like nobody shows up on day one as a rock star. And as a former athlete, I think that this is rings the most true for me, right? When I first picked up a volleyball when I was 12 years old, I wasn't good at it. I didn't know what I was doing. I had watched other people play for a long time, but I had never done it myself. And the way that I got really good and the way that I got a full ride Division I scholarship was that I practiced every day, sometimes twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day. And outside of my actual practice on my skill, I trained, right? I lifted weights, I worked out, I had a good visualization practice of how things were going to go and all those other things. Like there's all that practice that goes into building that skill, but we forget that that's what happens in business, right? We have to practice. Nobody just flips on a camera and is a rock star. Nobody just learns a new skill and knows how to do it immediately, right? The way we get better at things, the way we build confidence is to practice. So if you're brand new to business and you're like, oh, I'm worried that I'm not going to be able to get this client, this result, well, then practice, right? I don't care if you have to work for free. And there's a lot of people that have opinions on that, but you have to practice. Everybody who is good at something, practice. They did not just make it happen once. And for some reason, we think that that's how business building should be. We should open up our virtual shingle and we should be amazing at what we do. And people should just be throwing money at us and it's just going to be amazing, right? That's not the way it works. And I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but that is just not the way life works. So to build confidence, practice. So recap, stop worrying about what people think, plan for your future self. Who is your future self and how can you start acting as her now? Stop comparing yourself to other people, focus on what you're good at and practice, 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 practice. And now you have an awesome opportunity to practice because you are stuck at home in your quarantine with your family, with your kids. How can you use this time to practice getting really good at whatever it is you need to get really good at to make your business be successful? So if you want lots of practice doing all of this stuff, you can join us over in the Sales Skills for Women in Business Facebook community. You can follow us along at Instagram at Ryan Dowdy Uncensored. If you're watching us here on YouTube, tap that bell, subscribe, make sure that you know we are actually in a daily series, which unfortunately will end this week, but we will still bring you content weekly about growing your business, selling, connecting, and really positive, exciting things. So make sure that you never miss an episode, and we'll see you guys in the next video.